So, let's see. What up, what up, what up, everybody? Fantastic. What's up, Felipe? How you been, bro? How is Phoenix? You moved to Phoenix, right? Let's see. Hey, what up, everybody? So, guys, we're going live today to do some Q&A. If you actually have questions, anything you need help with, pre-foreclosures, anything about real estate, my DMs are full of people with questions, and it's just impossible to give everybody a one-on-one. Now, as you know, people, they won't show up, and then they'll blow me up tomorrow about questions. So anybody who has an actual question or a problem that they feel like I can help them with, real estate related, uh, then I can send you the link. I can put it in the chat and have you come on live so you can ask that question. I'll be happy to answer. But please do me a favor. Do me a favor. Don't click on the link if you only have hypothetical questions. Okay. Felipe. What's up, Felipe? What you wanna come on? You have a question? Is that what you mean by please? What's up, Alish? Is it Alicia? How do you pronounce your? I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher it, but what's up? How you doing? How are you doing, guys? So, guys, like I said again, so I'm going live today. My DMs is full, um, of people that are saying they have. So Felipe, I'm gonna put it on my Facebook comments if you don't mind picking it up on the Facebook comments. I'm gonna put the link there. Okay. So my DMs is full of people, guys, that are saying they have questions on pre foreclosures, questions on gator lending, questions on MAOs, real estate questions. There's no way I can have everybody um give everybody one-on-one. So this Q&A, come on here if you have questions, be happy to answer it, be happy to help you out. Right, guys, I'm gonna post the link, and you guys can come on and I'll take you guys one-on-one. Give me 1 second and I'm gonna post the link right now. Let's see. All right, so I see some folks on YouTube. Alicia, are you on YouTube? Are you watching on YouTube? So I just posted the link on the YouTube channel. Jasper, let me know if you can see the link. If you can see the link to come on here and ask your questions. Can you guys see the link? Give me a yes. Alicia, I got a questions with realtors. Dope, love it. Jasper. Okay, Jasper, I have a quick question about pre-foreclosure and the follow-ups. Ooh, love that, Jasper. Come on, I want to talk to you, dude. Yes, I am. Do I have a different link? No, you don't. Come on, I want to talk to you, dude. Yes, I am. Do I have a different? You're gonna have to pause that. Come on, I want to talk to you, dude. Yes, I am. Do I have a different? You're gonna have to pause that. Come on, I want to talk to you, dude. Okay, seems like Alicia is having some issues.
Hey,
Jasper,
Mama.
what's up, man?
So, yeah, I just have a quick question about pre-foreclosure follow-up. So recently, I just lost on a lead who I had a previous contact with on pre-foreclosures. I had like a couple of conversations with him, but he eventually kind of let his house go into auction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I literally hit him up yesterday saying, "Hey, did anyone ever end up helping you? Do you need a place to stay?" and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So he's currently looking for a place to rent, and so I've been kind of helping him out with that. But so how do you usually approach situations where um like the pre-foreclosure lead just kind of just lets it go into auction even though he's been looking kind of for help, and I don't know like how I can do it. Like I don't know if I didn't follow up with him enough or
Right.
what was the issue.
I think did I talk to you before?
Yes, we did talk before about like a pre-foreclosure before, but this was a new one, and I haven't brought it to you to Jay because he wasn't actually like motivated to do stuff with
That
you.
first one we spoke about, that one also got sold at auction?
Yeah, that one also got sold in auction. So this is the second time this happened.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like he obviously wanted to sell his house, but he just like I asked him what could I have done differently, and he was
Mhm.
like, I just felt overwhelmed with all that was happening, and I just messed up big time. And I was like,
Right.
what can I do better? I had two conversations with him. Like, could I have talked to him better to like have made him trust me more?
Right. So there's few things, right? There's few things that can happen. If you know that they have a sale date,
Mm-hmm.
I recently on a deal that I was working on in Maryland, the
Yeah.
guy got foreclosed on, even though we were already working on it before the sale date. He kept
Mm-hmm.
procrastinating on some of the information that we need, and on the day of the auction, he ended up giving up. So the thing is, you cannot save everybody,
Mm.
but you
Okay.
can most. Is a follow up process, right? So your follow up with pre foreclosures have to be really, really strong. Now, let me ask you a question. The pre foreclosures you're going after, are they local in your market?
They are not local in my
Okay, they're
market.
not local. So it's not like you can drive there, knock on the door, sit with them, have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation, right? You can only do the follow up. Now, a few things. I remember when we talked, you seemed new in
Yeah,
this whole thing,
I'm
correct?
fairly new. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be really honest with you. It's not a good practice for you right now, especially with somebody that have an auction coming up, to be the only one following up on that lead.
Okay.
You need to squad up with somebody that actually have experience on how to talk to these people, because there is a pre-foreclosure sellers, they all almost have the same psychological type of behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a process to it. There's steps that you need to take. Is a heavy follow up with them, but there's a sales process that comes with that too, right? Like for
Yeah.
example, I just locked up a contract in Texas. We
Mm-hmm.
stopped the auction the same day. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that.
you heard about it, right? Well, here's the reality. Somebody had them locked up on the contract before, couldn't perform, never open title. You know why? Most likely because they don't have money for the EMD,
That's crazy. Yeah, I heard about that.
right? Okay, so what happens with these pre-foreclosures? Number one, there's a time crunch. Number two, there is oftentimes always expenses involved up front
Mm-hmm.
to help them anyway. You got to help them with moving expense, right? Sometimes, like this lead, for example, if title was clear, guess what? We have to send money to stop that auction, not at escrow, but like for the trustee or whatever. So it's better to squad up with somebody that have experience, but also have the resources in case something need to be spent to help
Mm-hmm.
these people, right? So I can tell you right now, there's two things. One, it was people you cannot save anyway. Doesn't matter what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Two is the follow up. You didn't follow up enough.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
tell you, most people, most new people, is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It
I
didn't
agree with
follow up
that.
enough.
Yeah.
So the person keeps slamming the door, saying it's not this. But here's the reality: if you also don't know how to talk to them, how to bring, like for me, if I'm talking to a seller that is in pre foreclosures, I've done this so much. I can give them third party stories on sellers that we actually helped. This is how we helped them. This is what we did. Here's what we can offer, right? Because I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
That brings way more credibility than somebody, because remember, these sellers, they're going through pre foreclosures. It doesn't mean they're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
The one in Texas we just stopped, dude, he used to be a car salesman. Do you think you can hop on the phone and this guy not knowing that you don't know what you're doing?
No, he would definitely know if I
You
know my
definitely
stuff
know
or
you don't know what you're doing.
yeah,
Why would I let you, with this problem of mine, my family is about to be on the street, give it to you, right? So
yeah.
even though they have a high pain point, you still need. So when you first starting, I will tell you like your first deal, first and second, dude. Like this deal, it didn't come from me. We didn't market for it. Edgar, who I've been talking to for a while, he talked to the seller and reached out to me right away. He didn't try to wing it. He didn't. He reached out to me right away.
Mm,
Mamadou, I'm working with this seller. The auction is tomorrow. Can we do something? All right. Is it always gonna work? No, but I have way more credibility. So I'm not. So you need to squad up with somebody, dude, that have way more experience, right?
yes.
Number
Uh-huh.
one. Number
So
two, your
so
follow up.
mhm.
Your follow up up to the day of the auction. When I say the day, like few hours before. If you know the auction is at 10, that means at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., you should be on the phone with them because you can still be stopped up to the last minute
Okay.
if you're open to the solution. But on your follow up, right, when you're doing that follow up, dude, you gotta have somebody that have a little bit more experience, have a conversation with them, and give you feedback on, hey, this is where they're at. I think this is what we can do. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do.
Hmm.
So I would bet is on the follow up that you missed out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when I had the conversation with him, I could just tell he just didn't have enough confidence in me as a investor to perform on that because
There
he
you
was
go.
talking about he wanted to stay in the place, and I was like saying, hey, we can potentially do that.
Right.
If you just file it for a loan modification.
Hmm.
And he was like, well, are you charging me anything for this? I was like, no, absolutely not. I just really want to help. And then maybe down the line, if you're looking to sell, I
Hmm.
can be there to help you out with that. But
Right.
he was just very kind of defensive about the whole fact that I was doing it for free, kind of. And he was like saying, there's no way this is free. There is a scam to this. Like he's doing something that I don't know for that.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
a valid concern if you think about it, right? Who
Yeah,
does
it
it
is.
for free?
Yeah.
It's like, where's the catch?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I like the bank. I know the bank is official. I know the bank is legit. They're a bank.
Hmm.
You, Jasper, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I'm just some
You might
random
be
guy.
sitting in the Philippines trying to scam me out of my mortgage,
Hmm.
right? So they rather let it go to the bank because they know the bank is. So it's a psychological thing, right? That's why credibility is huge with those people. Huge,
Yeah.
right? So being able to give them examples, but also paint the picture of, hey, this is why I'm doing it, and this is why I'm not charging you, is super, super important. But how do you explain that if you haven't been through the process?
Exactly.
You
So,
can't.
hmm so like next time if I come across another pre-foreclosure lead, um, and after I get off the phone with him, I should contact you or like another, person to
Yeah,
JV
whoever you
up
like to
as
work
soon as.
with,
Okay. Yeah.
right
So,
away,
because right away. Okay. I
right
think
away.
that was my mistake. I was waiting
Especially,
for. Hmm.
especially if you know they have a sale date, because at the end of the day, Jasper, I've done deals where we weren't able to buy the property, but just
Hmm.
giving them advice and they could go in and keep their houses is priceless. Because regardless of what happens, the universe is going to reward you with more deals.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter. But like, just this is real life for people. This is real life.
Yeah.
Like losing their houses is, it means like some people are like they're ashamed. They don't want to. They're not ready. But like it takes, once you have dealt with like 3 4, you will start to understand. Okay, this is the pattern. This is how I approach it. This is the process. You know what I'm saying? Now, does that mean
Hmm.
you're gonna save everybody? Absolutely not, dude. Because they still have to participate on their own rescue,
Yeah.
right?
They
And
gotta.
you're there to
They.
walk them. You're just being that bridge. So
Yeah.
right now, since you're new,
Hmm.
right away you need to hand over as soon as you know they're open to at least they're open to the conversation. Hand it over to somebody with experience and have them walk you through the process, and you learn hands on. That
Okay.
doesn't mean you won't have something to do, right? It's like if I
Hmm.
talk to somebody and I feel like, you know what, this person still need 1 or 2 weeks to be ready, I will know. And I'll tell you, Jasper, I want you to call this person every single day once. Just check on them,
Okay.
do not talk about the property, for example.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you still do that, right? When they
Yeah,
get
I'll
close to
definitely
the
do that.
finish line, you see what I'm saying? So squad up with people, dude. Don't try, like, if you're going after pre-foreclosures, don't try to do this by yourself, because like you're doing a disservice to the sellers
Hmm.
by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing, and I did reach out to a couple of sub two students. I was reaching out to Tevin at the time, and then he was just saying, I think he was just really busy, like packed at the time, and then he was just saying, oh yeah, so as soon as the seller gets the loan modification form, we can just help him walk through that. But the seller got stuck at that point. He never really got to the point where he even went to the bank to get the loan modification application. He was like, well, the bank's never gonna give me, like they're never gonna approve me for this loan modification.
They
Why
won't
would they?
do it.
I haven't.
They won't
Hmm.
do it. When you're dealing with a
Yeah.
pre-foreclosure seller, the reason they're in pre-foreclosure in the first place is because they procrastinate on everything.
Yeah.
So having them do anything is not a good fit. You do it all for them. You just have them sign it.
Hmm.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. You need to squad up with somebody who actually, like, for example, for me, if you send me a lead, you got to
Hmm.
submit it through the JV form. I have a
The
team.
JV form.
I
Yeah.
can't call everybody, right? But my
Yeah.
team will jump on it right away. So you submit it. Guess what else you do? I think we talked, so I gave you my number. Is you say,
Hmm.
Mom, I submitted a lead, but this is a pre-foreclosure. So I
Yeah.
remind my team, hey, this is something we gotta be on top of, right? But reaching out to somebody and they go, "Oh, tell the seller to do it." That's not a good. I'm sorry. Then they haven't done pre-foreclosures enough,
Hmm.
because pre-foreclosure sellers, they won't do it. That's why we request all the documents necessary from the bank, right? We fill it out, right? Obviously, we use, nowadays we use certain, people like Kiki, Nahid, Angie. So we use them to fill it out because those people have experience talking to the bank. And it's like
Hmm.
a very transaction coordinating type of work too, right? Like there's a lot of paperwork involved. But we do it and we just have them sign on the dotted line once it's done. If you let the seller do it, it will never, never be done.
Okay. I
Okay.
I guess like the part of the reason why I just wasn't so comfortable sending like leads, like pre-foreclosure leads, is because I don't want to waste anyone's time, and I don't want to like send someone over that I believe like it could be or could not be a lead. I just want to bring people leads to close on, and I guess
Okay.
that was just like a different mindset.
So yeah, it's a different mindset. So you're going after very niche type of sellers, pre-foreclosures. So as long as the person is open to a conversation, hand it over right away. If I
Okay.
go in and I talk to a seller and I decide, you know what, this seller is not ready or is not a lead, here is my job,
Hmm.
Jasper. My job is to give you feedback as a newbie and say, Jasper, this is not a lead and this is why it's not a lead.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you learn, right? That's how you learn. So
Yeah.
next time, I don't submit this until this happens. But pre-foreclosure is so sensitive that if they're open to the conversation, dude, if they're open to the conversation, submit it right away. That's all you need. You don't need them to say,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you my property. You don't need them to say,
Okay.
I'm gonna sell it to you. You don't need them to say, I'm gonna work with the bank. I'm open to a solution. I
Hmm.
don't know where I'm
Okay.
going. I don't know if I'm gonna rent. I've tried this, I've tried that. That means they're talking, right? They're exploring
Yeah.
options. Dude, submit it right away.
Okay.
And if you
Yeah.
end up not being a lead, the worst thing you will learn why it wasn't a lead. Okay,
Hmm.
so yeah, that's my best advice to you, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I
Does
I
that
really
happen?
should have submit. I really should have submitted this one
No
because
worries,
he
it
was on.
happened. It
Yeah, he
happened.
was on a 40-minute call with me, and if I just sent it over to you,
And I told that to you when we talked on the phone, right?
I think so. But that was the first one I reached out to, and then the first one they weren't, like, they also were in the same situation where the auction date was literally like a week left or something, and this guy, he had a couple of weeks left, so I should have sent him to you as soon as
Right
I
away. We,
got.
we can
Yeah.
start it up to the day,
Yeah.
and that's
Uh.
what I'm saying. Which is okay, dude. Like
Yeah.
it happens. Even nowadays with me, I've done this a lot. I still sometimes get in, help sellers, and at the last minute, like I told you, they give up. They still have
Hmm.
to participate. The main thing for you is recognize that right now you're new and you're
Hmm.
going after a very, very sensitive type of list and type of sellers going through very tough situations. It's not something you want to wing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely squat up right away, like right from the beginning of the process. Don't wait till it's too late, till it's very, don't do that. Okay.
Okay.
Hope that was helpful, bro.
Yeah, that was super helpful. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Alicia, let me see. Hey, how do I
Hello,
pronounce your name?
it's Alicia.
Alicia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I am awesome. Give me 1 minute. Let me answer Steven. Steven, is the Instagram the best way to reach out to you about following up? I'm not sure what you mean, Steven, by following up. Do you mean reaching out to follow up on the seller you're talking to? What do you mean by following up? Let me see. Frank, what lingo and verbiage you use for prefer inside county records, substitute trustees, and what others? When you say what lingo, Frank, do you mean when you go to get those records to the county, what lingo do you use for them to give it to you? Is that what you mean? All right, Alicia, how can I help?
Okay, I am very new to this, but I've done deals with sellers only, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm very late into the challenge. I'm very late into everything. I have privy. I did already the 2 days of training. I'm on the second day. Actually, I'm on the third day today. But
Mhm.
I don't understand how to do deals with realtors that are on MLS. I have a limited belief, obviously,
Right,
somewhere in my head, and I need some help working through that.
got it. So you were trying to do the elephant challenge,
Yes.
right? Okay. Who's your accountability group, I guess?
There is, I mean, literally, I had COVID the past 2 weeks. I tried
Oh,
getting
okay.
on the Elephant Challenge, so
Okay.
I'm on day 3 of listening. I'm like
Oh,
way
gosh.
behind.
Gotcha. So first thing you need to do is, and you're gonna watch those videos at the end. But first thing you need to do is to join an accountability group in the
Okay.
state you're marketing to.
Okay,
So
I'm in Florida. Where do I find
there you
an
go. If you're in
accountability group?
Florida, then you can get in my group.
Okay.
Okay. I'll send you. Actually, you can put your. Let me see. You can put your email in the chat, and I'll send you. I'll have my integrator add you into the Slack channel.
Okay.
And then there's folks there active. They have, I think, meetings once a week or twice a week. And if you need any help, you can ask the questions in that Slack, right? There's
Okay.
everybody with different type of skill set. They'll be able to help out. Okay. So you
Okay.
can,
I put it in private checks. I can't do the comments. Obviously, apparently I'm not logged in
yeah,
properly.
no worries. So let me see if tell me if you can see this. Okay. Ventures. Can you see that email?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you can email on that email to be added. Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Now,
much.
as far as working with realtors, I'll tell you right now, um, it's gonna be a numbers game.
Hmm.
Okay, most realtors, number one, that you call, for some reason, there's something special about realtors. I don't know what it is. They will have a listing, but they won't respond to their phone when you call them. Right. So the best way to do it is first you text them first, and then you only call those that are interested in actually talking to investors. Now, I don't know what systems you're using right now. I'm sure you have Privy? Is that what you're
I
using?
do.
Okay. So I've heard Matt Beer talk about setting up ARIA reply, which is what they're using, and
Hmm.
texting uh realtors that have 90 plus day listings type of properties,
Okay.
90 days or more. It's been on
Okay.
the market for 9 days or more. Okay. Now you can do the calling, not a problem. But for me, I found it's true. They don't pick up. They just don't pick up. Most of them don't pick up. Those that pick up is, they don't really want to talk. They don't like working with investors, whatnot. But if you're texting, then you're only getting on the phone with those that are open to talking to investors, right? The other skill you're gonna need is knowing your numbers, knowing how to comp, knowing your MAO, maximum allowable offer. That skill right there, you're gonna have to what their pace through that elephant challenge. I forgot what day it was. If he's on the third, fourth, or fifth day, he did a whole very detailed type of comping training, A to Z. You're gonna have to watch that. You need to know how to comp. I see a lot of people going out making offers, but they don't know how to comp. They don't know what the numbers are. Let me give you an example. If a realtor have a property listed for $150,000, and that property is not selling, do you feel like that's the right offer to make them if you're making an offer? Absolutely not.
No,
Right?
especially if it's been on the market for that long. There's
Right.
no way their ARV is off.
Exactly. And anyway, if a realtor have a property listed, trust me, is 99.9% overpriced. So you always want to offer lower, right? So in terms of taking action, I wouldn't overthink it, right? Okay. I wouldn't wait till I learn comping to make the offers.
Okay.
You can
I'm
still
pretty
make
good
the
at
offer.
comping.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Then you're good. Do you have a background in real estate?
No, but I've been comping properties. I think I do a pretty good job at comping.
Then
So
you'll do fantastic.
okay.
In terms of making the offers, you need to have your daily targets. If you want to make, are you full time? Are you going full time into this, or do you have another job?
I am full time.
You're full time. If you're full time, I will tell you right now, if you're serious about it, you need to send at least 5 offers a day.
See, that's where my issue lies. Because I'm doing direct to seller right now, and I don't have enough leads to make that happen. So I can see how by going through the MLS and the realtors that I can do that because of Privy.
Yeah, I'm talking about the realtor model. I'm not talking about
Yes. I can see how I can do that now.
the realtor model. Just the realtor model, you need to send at least 5 minimum. That's without the seller's model. Okay. Now I said minimum. If you want it to be really effective, I would bump that to 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Now remember, the offer is not, you don't have to send anything in writing. That's not how this thing works. Okay.
Okay.
You send it in writing when they request it. But if you can send it, like for example, you're texting back and forth with a realtor, just tell them, hey, looking at the property based on the numbers we come up with, I can be at 130. That's an offer right there. Just text it.
Okay.
One offer, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you gotta have that, and then your accountability group. If you need help, if you're like stuck or there's a potential deal that's a different story, then you need to reach out to the accountability group. Have somebody jump in and help you out.
Okay. All right. I have a totally different questions. I'm trying to work on an Airbnb numbers. Do you know anything about that? Or should I ask in the accountability group?
So what is your question about Airbnbs? Is it how to come up with the numbers? Is it?
What I did is I went on Airbnb so far. I got the numbers from there. I don't know how accurate Airbnb is, but I'm
AirDNA, right?
AirDNA, yes. Excuse me. Yes, that is correct. And I am doing a sheet for the because there's a current mortgage on it. Mortgage, utilities. I'm doing oh shoot, I forgot. Oh my gosh. All right. The numbers, I'm putting all the numbers together.
Okay.
And now I know that at the minimum it's a 2-1, but I know that there should be about 25K, maybe a little bit less in renovation. And I know that I'm going to need like 25K for all the towels, all the stuff to furnish it and stuff like that. I don't know how to put that proposal together.
Yeah, that's the underwriting process.
Okay.
Is this a cash deal?
No, actually, I'm thinking either a partnership or a master lease with this.
Like Airbnb arbitrage type? Or you're not buying the property, you basically leasing it from the owner and turn it into
Yes, the owner wants to keep the property,
right.
but she's more interested in a partnership with me.
This is an Airbnb arbitrage, it's called.
Okay.
That's what it's called. Okay. Now, who's going to furnish the property? You or the owner? Who's
We're
going
trying to figure all that out because she didn't think that it was going to be she thought it was going to be $10,000. And I'm like, there's no way. We're looking at close to $50,000 to pull this off.
What's the square footage? Like how many? You said 2 bed, 1 bath?
2 bed, 1 bath. I believe it's 864 square feet.
Okay. Are you talking, when you say 50, are you talking about both renovation and furnishing?
Yes.
So right now the property is not in livable condition?
Correct. Yeah, the kitchen is totally gone. Need a new AC unit, so that there's some repairs that need to be done.
So here's a challenge with, I don't have any how do you call it, Airbnb arbitrages.
Mm-hmm.
Our Airbnbs, we own them. We have deed and title. The reason being is because we like not only the tax benefits, but we also like the ownership. Now, Airbnb arbitrage could be a great model to start with if you're just starting out, right? The challenge with the Airbnb arbitrage model, if you're going after properties that needs work and you got to spend a lot of money in that and furnishing, here's the challenge. One, if you're spending your own money, is how do you secure it on the property you don't own?
Oh yeah, really? Couldn't that be part of the contract?
It could. I'm saying how. I'm just giving you here questions to ask yourself, and you need to get those answers. Okay. So my first question is, because here's what happens: we use private money on our Airbnbs. We don't use a lot of our own money. Okay. Tanya, I'll see you. I'll bring you on in a few. So for me, if I go to a private lender to raise money, they want to secure that money against the property, and if I don't own it, then the owner have to co-sign and agree to that, right?
Okay.
And here's another challenge, which this is all things you can overcome with paperwork. I'm just saying these questions you need to ask yourself.
No, this is fantastic.
And is taken care of. If you secure the money, what happens also with arbitrage is, okay, it's almost like getting into open relationship, right? You get married with somebody, but you guys decide, yeah, you can also go screw around if you want to, because they can wake up one day and be like, I don't want my property to be Airbnb anymore.
Right.
And you have all this money invested and whatnot. What do you do? So making sure your lease and paperwork like clearly states that property have to be Airbnb for X amount of years, whatever that is, right? So these are some of that's why we don't, personally, I'm not a big fan of it. If I can avoid it, I always push for the sale. Like I want deed and title. Now, if you're doing Airbnb arbitrage model, I would probably try to go after properties that don't need work. And maybe all I'm doing is furnishing.
Okay.
If it needs work, the owner should be the one who's doing the work. Okay? The owner do the work, and if they can, like literally, I have my friend Munif. He just did a Airbnb arbitrage in Phoenix, Arizona, and the owner is the one renovating and furnishing the property.
Okay.
Not doing none of that, right? So it's a negotiation thing, right? What you bring into the table for you is, you having them not deal with management, right? You deal with all those headaches. Those are the things you bring into the table, right? But I wouldn't, Felipe, the link is on the YouTube channel, I think. I'll repost it in a few. Give me a second. Does that make, so that's the challenge with the Airbnb arbitrage. It's great, but you just need to figure out, how do I secure my money? How long is the lease, right? Set those expectations. Is this owner occupied?
No, it's not.
Okay, so you gotta make sure. So you gotta make sure that your paperwork states seller cannot just wake up tomorrow and decide, now I want to come back to my property. And you see, there's a lot of moving parts. It's definitely doable. It's just a little bit more challenging in the structure.
Okay.
So spending my money personally, spending my money on a house I don't own, I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay. So in this point, it's a better model if she would do all the fixing and maybe I furnish it.
Yeah. And make sure if you furnish it that your money, let's say hypothetically you spend 25K in furnishing,
Mm-hmm.
make sure your money is secured against the property as a lien against the property,
Okay.
so that in whenever she sells it or refinance or whatever, you get that 25K back. That's your principal.
Okay.
That shouldn't be like some sellers will probably tell you maybe like you get paid your money from the cash flow. That's not a deal to me. Like that means you're not cash flowing anything. You just getting what you spend.
Right.
So
So
that's the only challenge. Okay.
would I also need to cash flow immediately or?
Airbnbs. I mean, soon as you're done, you put it on the platform. Yeah, you should be. Depending on the area, you gotta underwrite it. So AirDNA is very accurate on their numbers
Okay.
on average. Now I don't know if you have the paid plan or the non of the or the free plan. That's a different story. But you don't just look at AirDNA though. You have AirDNA. You have to look at the activity in Airbnb. Look at other Airbnbs around it, how they're doing, how full they're booked. Read the reviews, see why people would book Airbnbs in this area, right? Make sure those numbers are solid. If there is an HOA, make sure you check those rules and regulations. It's the whole underwriting process. But if AirDNA numbers are decent, usually that means you can dig deeper now. You can trust those numbers and dig deeper, but you need to look at way more than just DNA. Airbnb.com. And the good thing about having a property on Airbnb is not sometimes you can monetize it not just on Airbnb. You can monetize it with traveling nurses that will hit you up.
That's the other thing that I was going to do with it was the traveling
They will reach
nurses.
out to you through
Okay.
once you put it on the platform. Okay, so it's an underwriting process. So what I would do, I would go on YouTube and learn how to, it's basically a comping process, but for Airbnb, you got to underwrite it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You have a wonderful day, Alicia.
Well, I also have another question, but I want some other people to get in on.
Yeah, go ahead. I think Felipe just dropped off, and Tanya is gonna come. Go ahead. You can ask a question.
Okay. I'm in a sticky situation. I had a property under contract and a secondary contract popped up. I put in a memorandum at the county courthouse, which put a lien on the property. Now, all the seller had to do was just cancel the contract, but she opted not to do so. The secondary, first of all, you can't have two contracts on one property. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you're talking to a seller and they're already on the contract with somebody else.
No, it's the other way around. I had the contract first.
Got it. So yes, they can't, but sellers do that all the time.
So what would a memorandum? I've been told to put a memorandum in at the courthouse, which I did.
Okay. So why did they go on the contract with somebody else? Did they get offered more money?
We had left negotiations opened. I had sent her an addendum, which she had agreed to do. And then I sent her a cancellation of contract. She chose neither one of those.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. Few reasons why a seller will go behind you and get another contract. It's always somebody offered them more money. Always, 100%.
Okay.
Now there's a saying that Pace says all the time that is so true: is buyers are liars, but sellers are worse.
I know.
Right? Okay.
I love that saying, by the way.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure that your contract allow you to actually file a memorandum, though, because a lot of people file memorandums, but they don't have that clause that allow them to do that on their contract.
Oh.
If you don't have on your contract a clause that clearly states that you can file a memorandum on the property, you have no legal right to file a memorandum on the property. So this is why most people that use those free contracts on YouTube, people's gurus, YouTube channels and stuff, they're not a good fit for investing, right? So you want to make sure, number one, you have the clause in your contract that you had the seller sign that allow you to file a memorandum. Now, because if you don't have that, title companies, let's say hypothetically the other buyer is using a different title company, that title company is going to look at it and go, oh, we don't care. We'll just go around it and still close. There's nothing.
Oh, but see, they contacted me on Thursday.
Great. So they contacted you and said what?
That I should release the lien.
Okay, great. That means right now you have control. But one thing is this. What was your exit on that deal? Is it to wholesale it?
I already have an end buyer. Yes,
Okay.
I already have an assignment of contract on it, and
okay.
It's been in escrow since June 3rd.
Why haven't you guys closed yet?
We need the seller. The seller has been ghosting us ever since we came to an agreement on June 23rd.
Okay, then here's what I would do. I would sit on that lien.
Mm-hmm.
I won't release it. I will tell the title company, yes, I will release it once I get paid.
Okay, that's what basically I did.
Yeah, once I get paid. So here's what I need. I don't know what your fee is, what you were about to make on that wholesale. You tell them, soon as I get this money, 5,000 or 10,000, whatever that number is, I'll be more than happy to release it because I had the contract before. We had an agreement, and seller basically now is it at a, they're in a, what we call a breach of contract, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but mind you, there's a legal way to handle that too.
Okay.
The breach of contract, normally, I think you have to send a letter or an email to the seller letting them know, there's a cure notice, all that fun stuff. But if you have a title company, you should call your closing attorney and talk to them about that. They will guide you through it. But you don't just sit, there's a process to it, right?
Okay.
So the seller ghosting you, if you send an email or text message, they're not responding, is perfectly fine. Their non-response can be taken as a yes.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Okay, but I would just sit on it. If your contract allowed you to put a lien on the memorandum on the property, I would just sit on it. You have all the control. Once I get my 5K, my 10K, guys, I'll be more than happy to release it. If not, I already had a buyer that is willing to close. Seller just need to show up at closing. But make sure everything is in writing. You gotta keep a record for this thing.
Yeah, they were also accusing me that the new buyer was accusing me that I said that I was a realtor, and I have it in writing through a text because he had asked me. I said, no, I am not. So it's like, oh, these people are like really bad. Anyway, thanks. I appreciate all that information.
Problem. You have a blessed day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. What up, Tanya? Where's Felipe?
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you? Felipe, you coming up?
Huh?
Sure. No,
What'd you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Put backstage. I'm getting. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Yeah, I can hear you.
what's up, Mama Dude?
You gotta mute your.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I have the echo. Yeah, it's Tanya on your end. There's an echo.
Do I still have an echo?
Tanya on your end. Yeah, there's an echo.
Can you hear me?
Everything's delayed coming from you too. I don't. Hold on. Let me leave and come back in.
Tanya on your end. Yeah, there's an echo.
Can you hear me?
Everything's delayed coming from you too. I don't. Hold on. Let me leave and come back in.
Tanya on your end. Yeah.
Everything's delayed coming from you too. I don't.
So do you have another window open?
No.
Everything's delayed coming from you too. I don't.
So do you have another window open?
I've got.
Everything's delayed coming from you too.
Yeah, it's actually not. It's not you, Tanya. Sorry, it was Felipe.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying I had to check out. So if you hear people knocking at the door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. How's it going, man?
Stressful. Like, stressful.
Great. So I just want to go over something really quick. I get this question all the time about people right now doing this. About the elephant challenge. About that. And I know you handle dispo mostly. So people always reaching out about, hey, how do I come up with my MAO, and then also best practices when it comes to like dealing with buyers, because I have a lot of people they send deals like, hey, I have this deal, I'm looking to dispo, but the numbers is all over the place. It's like it makes no sense whatsoever. So you have to actually sit and do the homework for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So most people don't understand. Actual real buyers have no time to sit and comp the properties for you.
Yeah.
So there is best practices like when you send a deal, should you send it like with few comps? Two, also if you can touch on what is an MAO and how do you come up with it, especially when you're trying to wholesale it.
Okay, so when you have an MAO for a wholesale deal, the first thing you want to do is find out the ARV of the property, and you can do that several ways. I check several different sites because sometimes different sites will give you different comps
Hmm.
that the other one didn't offer. And then I take
What
the
are those
three.
sites that you use?
I use Zillow, and
Okay.
I look for what was sold within the last couple months. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom on that property, and it'll tell you what has sold recently. I also use Redfin. Redfin has actually been being more accurate than Zillow lately. They're updated every 7 days. So they've been giving you more comps. I deal with a lot of multifamilies, and Redfin used to be the go-to for just multifamilies, but now with single families, they've kind of beat Zillow so far as accuracy in their numbers. But I do check both. On Zillow, I do check the graph where it'll show like where the house sits, and it has like the values of each of the houses, so you can see exactly the streets
Mhm.
and the numbers that are on those streets, and they'll be like within like a block or two of the actual property.
Got it.
So
So one
once
thing I want to touch on before you move on with that is like right now, guys, if you're doing comps, if you're comping properties, you don't want to go anything over a month.
mm-hmm,
Anything over a month. 3 months ago, it was a completely different market than the market we're in now
yeah,
because of interest rates.
and
Like,
you'll see the jump. You'll see the
yeah,
jump in prices.
like literally, I think it was yesterday. I heard, somebody from my real estate investing circle. He had a deal in escrow. He was wholesaling, and because of certain hiccups on the closing, by the time it closed, so he was supposed to make I think $70,000, and ended up making only 17 on the assignment because of the interest rate that kept changing throughout the close of escrow. And so the buyers kept backing out, coming down on the numbers and whatnot. So if you compare right now, only go behind 1 month if you can, and stay in areas where is like a lot of activity. Number one. Number two, you want to focus on properties that the ARV is 300 or more, ideally. The ones that are like 250 and less, 200 and less, like most lenders are not lending on it. So you don't want to waste a lot of time on those unless maybe you're getting them creatively. Okay. And another thing we didn't touch on, Tanya, just in case somebody that don't know nothing about real estate jump on this, as MAO means maximum allowable offer, meaning that is the maximum amount of money you can offer to the seller. And she's just breaking down how you come up with that. All right, go ahead.
Um, and so for once you have three of the highest ARVs, you average them out,
Hmm.
you divide them by three, and that's your ARV for that area. So it used to be different where we would do 0.65 or 0.70, but now it's 0.84. And that includes the 10% because you want to any flipper or real estate investor wants to make 10% on their investment.
That's 10%
So
of what?
10% of the sale of the ARV.
Got it. So that means if I'm flipping a house and the house is worth $300,000, if I'm a flipper, I want to make $30,000 net after all
Hmm.
expense, right?
Yes.
Got it.
So 6% will be for closing. You want to include that because if you're wholesaling a property, the buyer pays the closing costs. The seller does not pay any closing costs. So after you subtract that 10 and 6%, you come out with 200. If you have a property that's 285K, I wrote something down just to go off of it.
Okay.
If you have a property that's 285K and you multiply it by 0.84, you get 239,400. From that 239,400, you want to subtract repairs.
Right.
You cannot make an offer on a property if you have not seen pictures, videos, or have had somebody go see it themselves. Like you just cannot make an offer because you don't know. Sellers will tell you, oh, it's in pristine condition and it hasn't had anything done to it since like 1984 and they did the rehab themselves.
So this is good, right? So let's slow it down. Let me break it down. So let's say right now you're going with ARV of 285?
285.
Okay, so she's going with ARV of 285, guys. What is ARV? Is after repair value, meaning when the property is fully fixed up. That's what you can sell it for. That's what you can actually list it for. This is before any expense, right? But here we're talking about, let's say, a property that is worth that after it's fixed up, but it needs work. So you're talking, I got this off market. I know if I fix it up, it's going to sell for 285, right? And now I'm running my numbers to come up with my MAO, like what is the maximum allowable offer I can offer the seller, right? So is what you're doing is you're taking that 285 and you're doing times 0.84, you said? So times 0.84, that leads me down to 239,400, correct? And then, so why am I doing 0.84? What is that 0.84 for?
Because we used to do 0.70 and 0.65 and sometimes 0.75 depending on the area. And that you want to subtract that because that entails all of your closing costs, the money back to the investor, and that's the base number where you can start at by taking them out of the picture of their ROI and 6% closing.
So the 0.84 include their profits and the closing costs.
Yes.
Right. Okay, great. So 0.84, guys, right out the top. So you already removed, the 10% for the investor if he's a fix and flipper. And then you already also removed the closing costs. That's seller's agent, buyer's agent, and the title company fees, right?
Yes.
Hypothetically. Okay, great. And then out of that 239, now you deduct the
repairs.
Okay. How much, let's say hypothetically, how much does this one need?
I put 45K.
So let's say this property needs 45. So I'm going to take that 239,400 and I'm going to minus you said 40K? $45,000. Now I'm at 194,400.
So from there, that's the wholesale price.
All right.
You have to make sure when you're constructing your assignment fee that there have been times when I've reduced my assignment fee to make the deal work. You always go into a deal saying how much you would like to make, but realistically, you have to take care of your seller and your buyer first, and then you get what's left. So say you want to have a 30K assignment fee. 164.4 would be your max offer.
Right. So 194,400, this is what the flipper would buy it for if the flipper was direct to seller. This doesn't include your assignment fee. Now, every market is different. There is markets where the average assignment fee is 10. There's markets where the average assignment fee is 7,500. There's markets where the average assignment fee is 2,500. Depending where you are, the average number is different and your business model might be different. There's people that don't touch deals unless they're making an assignment fee of 25,000.
Yes.
They don't touch it. So also another thing that comes into play is your negotiation skills. That's just the reality of it. If you're a good negotiator and you want to make 30K, you want to negotiate it down to where, okay, now let's say I want to make 20 on this deal, right? So I'm at 194,400 before my assignment fee, so minus 20K of my assignment. So I need to get this thing under contract for 174,400. Is that right, Tanya?
Yes.
Right. So few things. Sometimes that doesn't work at all because sellers they won't bite. Sometimes it's just you're not good at negotiating. Period.
And sometimes sellers are just not feeling how you approach them. It's
Yeah, that's
they
part of
because
negotiation.
they have a bunch of different people calling about the same thing. So you have to find a way to connect with the seller and stand out so they work with you, because really you're selling yourself. Like that's what it
That's
boils
where
down to.
negotiating skills comes into play. It's
Mm-hmm.
all a negotiation skill, problem solving. Are you the right fit? But anyway, so on average, guys, like that's how you do it to come up with your MAO. Your MAO as a wholesaler is different from your MAO as a buyer. If I'm somebody who I'm taking down this property, I probably won't deduct 20K into this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
deducting 10 and paying myself an assignment up front because I'm putting out marketing and then leaving the rest for my profit in the back end if I'm taking it down myself as a buyer, because I still have to like pay my wholesale marketing fees, my employees, and all of that. So as a full-time investor that also put out marketing, I always pay myself even on deals that I actually take down myself. That's different from full-time flippers, guys. They have no time for that. They don't market. They don't know what skip trace, even skip tracing means. I'm talking about real buyers now. I'm not talking about your wholesaler slash buyer, right? But that's a great breakdown for the MAO because I think a lot of people now. What is one skill you need to work on every day if you want to be good at MAO?
Me? You're asking
Oh,
me?
general. You hear you giving advice to newbies.
Okay.
This
After you
people
do
that don't know nothing.
after you do it for a while, you will be able to kind of like eyeball the numbers to get like an approximate
So
number. But
what
if
is
you
the
are just
skill?
starting, but
What
if
is
you're
the
just
skill?
starting out, and I would comp every day. I would
Comp.
comp at least 10 properties every day, just to get in the rhythm of doing it. Because Mama Dude can shoot me a text message and say, "Hey, can you find out about this property?" I'll be driving, and I can comp it while I'm driving
What is
because I've
comping?
comped.
What,
Comping is comparison of properties of. Sorry, my dog.
or
Somebody just came in. Um, it's comping it's taking properties and seeing what the market in your area for that property is, what they're selling for, and the condition of the homes. You have to take that into consideration too. It's just finding comparables to what you're trying to either lock up or sell, and having them at the correct numbers, because you can't just go off of what sellers say. You have to do the actual work yourself.
so basically you're comparing properties with other properties next to it, trying to compare apples to apples. Don't compare single families to duplexes. Don't compare
Exactly.
duplexes to townhouses.
And when you look at like the websites for Zillow and Redfin, normally they will have the same number of beds and baths, but sometimes they will throw in a 4 bedroom and you're trying to comp a 3 bedroom. So
Right.
you have to be privy to that also. And you have to pay attention to the square footage, because some places don't record. I know Zillow does not record finished basements. We had a property like this last week that you told me to look at.
Mhm.
One website had it at like 2,400 square feet, and the other one had it at like 1,600 square feet.
Yeah.
And Redfin actually had the pictures of the finished basement, which Zillow did not. So if I would have just went off of that one comp on Zillow, the numbers would have been wrong.
That's why company is an art, right? It's something you gotta practice every single day. Like you gotta practice also using different tools. A lot of people use just either Privy or PropStream or Batch Leads, whatever it is. But you
I
have to use different tools.
Yeah, I used to use PropStream a lot, but their numbers started getting all.
When they
I
launched the
found
MLS access, I guess.
Yeah, like it was just like, and I even had to, my main buyer in Ohio, who keeps me working, his numbers kept coming in really, really low for offers, and we were missing out on good deals. And finally I had to say, where are you getting your numbers from? He was like, PropStream. I'm like, no, don't. That's why we've been missing out on these deals. And when I told him what I was doing, then our numbers matched up and we got back into our flow.
Yeah, guys. There's not one way to comp. There's different ways to comp. The only thing is you got to take that extra step, dig deeper. There's sometimes the square footage is off online. Like you got to go look at, is there a basement? Is the basement finished? Like those things. But you're gonna learn it with practice. What I would do, if you want to practice comping and you're new, put yourself in other wholesalers buyers lists, and they will, even though you're not going to be a buyer, they will email you deals every single day and take the habit of comping those deals for fun, just to see if their numbers is right. That's how you learn. You get There's no other way. Jamil Dempsey had his channel is super awesome for comping. So it's a skill you got to practice. So guys, thank you Tanya for coming up. I'm about to end this live. I was gonna answer Felipe, but it sounds like Felipe is gone. Felipe, are you coming back up before I drop out? Tanya, thank you for coming up. I'll call you in a minute to talk about the Florida deals, girl.
All right. Thanks for having me, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. All right, guys. Felipe, my guy Felipe was here. Seems like he had a question. Felipe. All right, guys. Hold on, Felipe. Felipe, my guy Felipe was here. Seems like he had a question. Felipe. All right, guys. Hold on, Felipe. The echo. Felipe was here. Seems like he had a question. Felipe. All right, guys.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not
The
good.
echo.
I don't know what's going on.
Seems like he had a So guys, this is not working out with Felipe, my guy, but I know him, so I'm gonna call him privately. So here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. My DMs is full of questions. People questions they want, about real estate, whatever it is, and they're not here. They're not here. They want one-on-ones, guys. Like nobody have time to happen one-on-ones with every single body. So if you don't show up on these lives and ask your questions, like don't blow me up on my phone. I'm busy running a business. All right. So I hope this was helpful and you guys have a blessed freaking day. Peace.